Let's bring in former Republican Congresswoman Barbara Comstock of Virginia. Representative, thanks so much for spending time with us tonight.
Good to be with you.
All right, so you heard that rebuke from former Vice President Pence. What does that say to you about the state of the Republican Party, that a former vice president actually needs to come out and say what we all know, that a single person cannot unilaterally overturn the will of the American people in an election?
Well, of course, it's the truth, and it's what the majority of Americans and actually a substantial number of Republicans believe. But it was important that he said it. And I think it was very important that he said it at the Federalist Society, because this is where conservative lawyers meet. And it was conservative lawyers, and in fact, many Federalist Society-related connected judges who kicked Donald Trump to the curb on his bogus election fraud claims again and again over 60 times. And even the Supreme Court, where he had nominated 3 people who he liked to call his justices, but of course they weren't. So I think it was important today for, at the Federalist Society, Mike Pence to stand up for the rule of law. And what he did also supports what Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger and the January 6th committee, what they're doing is they are trying to get to the bottom of this, and they are using all of the same tactics that Republicans used. And as you may know, I was a Republican counsel back in the Clinton years. So whether it was Republican counsels on Capitol Hill or Ken Starr, the kind of records that that were subpoenaed then were phone records, email records, bank records. When Bill Clinton had a legal defense fund, I know my committee, we subpoenaed all of those legal defense funds. Actually, in this case, that has not been done yet to the various Trump efforts to help some of these defendants. And now that the former president, has said he would pardon them, I think that's arguably part of the obstruction. So what happened today was very important. And I think the reason you're seeing the RNC do this and why Donald Trump demands this kind of action is because the walls are closing in on him. You have Pence and his staff turning over documents to the committee. White House documents have been turned over. More and more witnesses are coming up. But even more importantly, real-time documents from the people who aren't speaking, like Mark Meadows and others. Their real-time documents will come up whether they want them to or not.
Congresswoman, I totally hear what you're saying, but something doesn't jive here. You talk about the majority of Republicans believe that, too, about what Mike Pence said today. But here's the thing. The RNC,
I clarify. Yeah, it's not, I didn't say majority of Republicans. It's a majority of Americans and then a good number of Republicans.
Okay, well,
majority of Republicans are still supporting this, but it has moved more to people being 56% real Republicans, regular Republicans, versus 36 Trump Republicans. So
then
yes,
help me understand this, Congresswoman. Help me understand this, because the RNC censured Representatives Cheney and Kinzinger today for their work with the January 6th committee. The censure resolution, and the language has been walked back a bit. You heard Jonathan Karl say that, but what does it say to you that they were censured for just being a part of this committee?
Well, it's a sad day. In a former life, I was also an RNC staffer. I know many RNC staffers like myself will never give a dime to the RNC under this type of leadership because they're wasting the money on Trump legal defense instead of Republican candidates. They are also wasting the money going after perhaps Republicans like Liz Cheney. So it's a sad day. It's embarrassing. I was embarrassed by and for every one of those members who were so cowardly they just voted in a voice vote. I don't think they represent the American people. And I know, because I hear from Republicans who will never vote for Trump again, that this former president who divided the country is now dividing our party. And instead of moving on and picking new leaders who will try and unite the party, this kind of division will threaten Republicans making the kind of comeback that we made in Virginia, because Glenn Youngkin said, I don't care whether you supported Trump or didn't support Trump. I'm going to focus on issues, and I want everybody in the coalition who's open-minded and cares about the issues that I care about. And that was a winning formula. And why Republicans would scrap it for this two-time popular vote loser, 2 times impeached, who lost the House, the Senate, and the White House in those 2 Georgia seats.
Congresswoman, a lot of people are you're saying that, and privately they will tell many of us that that's the case. You've said many times you won't leave the Republican Party because of former President Trump, but if he is the standard bearer in 2024, campaigning on pardoning those in January 6th, running on a platform endorsed by the RNC, can moderates like you, Mitt Romney, Adam Kinzinger, I mean, you say that it's dividing the party. But it looks like Trump has united the party. They will not go against him.
Yeah, I would not vote for him, and I know a lot of Republicans who wouldn't. So, no, I will state here and now. I would not be voting for him. I didn't vote for him in 2016 when I was on the ticket and outperformed him in my district by double digits. I didn't support him in 2020. So, no, I think he is wrong for the country, dangerous and divisive. And he is, as what Mike Pence said today, what he was asking the vice president to do was un-American. So I will work, just as Liz is and Adam and many others, I will work hard to make sure we have somebody who can unite the party and move past these kind of unconstitutional actions. But in the meantime, hurting the party. But more importantly, it's morally wrong what he's doing to the country. And to hang on to this sort of dead political corpse that threatens to drag down more and more people makes me sad.
And yet it seems like the only people who will stand up and say what you're saying are either former Congress people or senators or Adam Kinzinger, who's leaving. It's very difficult for anybody who worries about their seat to say what you're saying. I have one final quick question to you. Do you think what happened today with Pence was a shot over the bow in some way? Do you think that moderates like you perhaps are trying to coalesce behind the vice president?
Listen, it's a long way till 24, and I expect there'll be people we haven't heard from who will come up and capture the moment and not be a Trump sycophant. I think people want someone, a man or a woman, who stands up for themselves. That's what I'm looking for. So Liz Cheney is a profile in courage. I think she's, a woman for all seasons. She's like Margaret Chase Smith, who went after Joe McCarthy. I mean, she's like Howard Baker. I met Howard Baker's old law firm. He had the courage to stand up there. But I think there are going to be others in the coming months and year who are going to want to put this behind him. I do feel like he's losing it a bit. And that's why these desperate actions are being done by his, most sort of low-life supporters. He's got the lowest of the low around him. These are the people who lost the campaign for him. They aren't good political operatives. A lot of them are not very good people, not nice people. And, they've done some unseemly things. So I think we're going to move on from this. It's going to be painful, and it's a cancer that needs to be cut out. But you can't let a cancer just fester. It will kill a party. Well,
we'll be watching. It's going to be interesting because people have been talking about what you're talking about for quite some time, and it hasn't happened just yet. So former Congresswoman Barbara Comstock, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us tonight.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.